Welcome to 2023. Yes, it's the year 2023. And this is going to be the year that you crush it at your insurance agency. And your friends at the carriers want to make your job as easy and as rewarding as possible. Why do I say that? Well, I got this great letter, and I've received letters and seen some shared letters that many of you have received talking about commission cuts. I mean, what could be more inspiring? But we're not going to make an entire episode filled with sarcasm. We're not going to talk about any of the negativity. We're going to focus on solutions and what you can do to deal with these situations. So we're going to talk about three things in this episode. First, what I've been seeing in the world of commissions, and in particular, this affects personal lines, not as much business insurance. Number two, things you can do to try to deal with the situation. And number three, my prediction for the future of what I think might actually be coming and may exist in some places already when we're talking about commissions. So, are you ready to join me on our first episode of 2023 of Planet of the Agents, the ultimate show for insurance agents, owners, and all of you out there in the whole world of insurance? Well, I'm so excited. I know you're excited too. So you sit down, you buckle up, get ready, because here we go. Welcome back to Planet of the Agents, everybody. Our first episode of the year 2023. Isn't this exciting? I'm excited. You know what's really interesting? When you start seeing those new expiration dates on the policies that you're quoting. You see policies that are expiring in 2024. And in some cases, for those of you who actually get 2-year quotes, 2025. Who knows what's going to happen by then? But what we need to do now is talk about focusing on this year, changes that are coming, some that are already in place, and some that have been announced and that are now taking effect in 2023. Now, before I get started with the three things that we're going to discuss today, make sure that you tap that little subscribe button and click that little bell if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on the podcast, of course, make sure you've got your downloads active, you've clicked the plus sign. You know what? Why not click some stars? Why not click 5 stars? I would appreciate it. And of course, as always, if you want to reach me, go to planetoftheagents.com, click the contact button. It's on the top of the screen if you're on your computer, or it's in the menu if you are on mobile. And then you can reach out to me. Share your thoughts, share your questions, share your ideas. Tell me what you want to talk about. Okay, so we're going to talk about 3 things today, like I said. Let's start with number 1. Commission changes. This is disconcerting. Why am I disappointed in commission changes? Well, first, let me tell you what I've been hearing about and some letters that I have actually seen myself. There is a personal lines carrier whose name I will not mention because we're just going to let you think about this, and it doesn't really matter who's doing it at the moment. They have cut commissions to 2% on certain things. And I believe it's monoline business for a specific item. For example, like monoline homeowners insurance. They have said that on renewal, you will be receiving a whopping 2% commission. That is lower than even my predictions. Okay, that is not what I expected. I understand non-renewing business. I understand making changes. I understand changing payment plans, but 2% commission is particularly painful to a lot of people. That is essentially like working for free, in my humble opinion here. So, okay, let me tell you a few things. I have previously seen 7.5% commission paid by a company that runs a program for a specific industry for E&O, or errors and omissions insurance. That was a commercial account, a commercial line of business, and that's very specific, and that relates particularly just to their own program. I have also seen already a personal lines carrier paying 8% on some business, which when I first saw this, it was actually a couple of years ago. It's not new. They were paying 8% in Minnesota specifically on certain business. It was a personal lines carrier again, and that was something I saw in one specific state. But now I've seen that more and more. I have seen the carriers cut to what I thought would be the plateau of lows for a very long time, which is 10%. I know agents who still receive 20% from some carriers. Many people were receiving 15% if you're going direct, maybe 12%, 12.5%. Oddly, I saw some company paying 13%. Slowly, I saw that whittled down to 10%. Now, every time they cut it, they like to send a letter. The carriers and companies send me letters too, and I get copies of the letters from other people who send letters, or you post them online, and I see them, and they say it's because of various costs, things they have to deal with. Now we hear about inflation, the rising cost of repairing a vehicle, the rising cost of labor. There are all these different things, and they want to make sure that you know that you have to do your part. Have you ever written back to a carrier and asked, did you do your part? Did you take a pay cut? I have. They didn't like when I wrote that. Shocking. I believe I wrote something like, and I'm just going to paraphrase here, I appreciate doing my part, but I'd like to know what types of pay cuts the people at your company took, because you're giving me, say, a 20% pay cut. Now, I want you to remember the math, okay? Think in percentage terms. If you were receiving 15% commission and now you're receiving 10%, did you just lose 5%? You could say that, but 5% out of 15% is about 33%. So they cut your pay 33%. There's an infinite decimal that probably follows that somewhere, but let's just round. That's a huge pay cut, 33%. I have to pause. You can see I'm pausing just thinking about it. Okay, so that's reality. Now we're seeing something new, and that is significant cuts. So I've seen carriers turn off business, particularly in California. You see problems along the Gulf Coast or Florida where they have to turn things off and reassess things. In the state of Idaho, I saw a carrier say they weren't going to write personal auto anymore. I've seen things in many different states. And particularly for those of you in California, you're dealing with your auto insurance situation, and that can have an effect too. But I just didn't think I would see 2%. Now, I've actually seen that letter from a carrier posted in 2 different states so far. I haven't checked other states, but it's across the entire country, I'll say that. This is really something new. Now, clearly, there are things that you might be able to do about this. So I do want to mention one other thing in case you're thinking, well, there are other companies that pay low commissions too. I know in workers' comp, it can be scaled based on the premiums. There are some workers' comp companies that pay lower commissions, and that has to do with, a variety of things. But you might have known that from the get-go. You weren't surprised. Hey, thanks for building up this business. Let me touch on that for a second. This is the reason that I am very disappointed in the situation. I understand that they have underwriting issues and other things costing them money. I do. I understand that the multi-billion-dollar companies have things that are costing them money. But the reason many of us got into insurance was to build up a book of business. We're loyal to the carriers. We try to support them by placing business with them, understanding their products, having meetings with them, working within their guidelines, dealing with the changes they constantly present. And in return, they were going to be there for us. And you were going to build up your book of business. One day, hopefully you could sell it. You could retire on it. Maybe you could sit on it for a year, collect some residuals. But now, what if you built up a book of business of $2 million with a carrier who is paying you, say, 12%, 15%, okay? That'd be $300,000 a year of revenue to you. Now it's 2%. Well, that's $40,000 a year. That's a $260,000 pay cut. Ouch. Ouch. That's why I'm disappointed. I understand there are a lot of things going on in the world, but I'm disappointed because there was a loyalty, and then for some people, it was not mutual. I'd like to get your thoughts on this, by the way. Drop a comment below if you're watching on YouTube. Contact me on planetoftheagents.com if you're listening to the podcast. Reach out to me. I want to know what you think and what you're seeing, by the way. But I also want to know what you think. What do you feel about the situation? That's something that really gets my attention. Because not everyone has the same feelings, of course. I can't imagine many of you are happy about the pay cut. Okay, let's move on to item number 2 we were discussing. What can you do about this? Okay, with commissions going down, primarily in personal lines, again, I want to say that I'm seeing this in personal insurance and not much in business insurance, which is why in several episodes you've heard me talk about making sure that you are moving towards the commercial business. Okay, what can you do about this? There are several things you can attempt to do. Number 1, you can review the reason for the cut and determine if there's some way to write another policy or cross-sell another policy to bring the commission back up. Let me give you an example. If you received a commission cut letter specifically about monoline business, meaning that if you only, for example, have a homeowner's insurance policy with a client, what if you sell them an auto policy? Will that change it to a package and now raise your commission back up? I'm seeing more and more that package business is paying a higher commission. Again, package business, meaning you've combined home insurance plus auto insurance plus an umbrella plus something else. It could be a watercraft, it could be a motorcycle, it could be something. And so I would make sure that you understand what you can do. There are opportunities there for many people. Okay, so read the documents carefully that you've received. Read the letter and make sure you understand it. If you don't understand it, reach out to someone at the company and ask them. Speaking of which, the second thing you could do is you could directly contact your companies and ask them if there's something that they can do for you. You might be special. You're all special to me, but I can't do anything about that. So hopefully you have a special relationship with the carriers, and they can perhaps do something to accommodate you. This does exist. For those of you who think that every single person gets the same commission everywhere, that is not generally the case. I have heard agents tell me that they received practically double the commission that I was getting when I was selling some products. It is shocking. Item number 3 you can do to deal with this. Speak with the carrier about setting goals to achieve that will raise your commission back up. Let me give you an example. You could do things like the following. You could set a goal of hitting a certain amount of premium sold. If you sell a certain amount of insurance premiums, perhaps it will give you an increase or a bonus. You can also ask about profit sharing and other types of bonus situations that are available. It may be that if you hit, again, a certain amount of sales or number of policies, that you could receive an award or a reward, if you will. Third, you can ask what other incentives are available. There are incentives available. There are things like co-op dollars where companies will help you with marketing. Have you ever asked them? Maybe you write a lot of business and you want help with a certain type of advertising or marketing and you need some funding for that. Perhaps they will be willing to assist you. And that is not uncommon, but you'll have to discuss that with the carrier and your marketing rep and see what you can do with that. So those are 3 things that I think you can do to try to improve the situation. If you can't do anything, then you're going to have to just make a decision. Okay, you're going to have to think about this. You're going to have to think about, what am I going to do? Are you going to rewrite the customers with a different insurance company? Maybe. It might not be easy, but you might have to do it. There is a carrier in the West that is pulling out of California, and I have heard people tell me that they will be forced to potentially rewrite over 100 or 200 clients. I'm sure there are people out there who have way more to deal with than that. But in the auto insurance world, to try to rewrite 100 or 200 people, that's going to take a long time. It is an unfortunate situation. So That's one thing. You could rewrite the customers. Yes, you can do that. You can also use this opportunity to cross-sell the customer to make sure that the whole account has a value to you. For example, you might say to yourself one day as you receive a series of calls from your clients needing service, well, I'm only making $10 a year. How much service can I provide? Would it be better to perhaps, I don't know, give the customers to another agency, a mega agency, someone who can provide customer service, turn them into house accounts at the carrier? I don't know. I don't think that would be preferable for most people. Most people do not want to give up their clients. You worked so hard to build your insurance agency. I know how hard so many of you work. Last year, 2022, I heard more stories about how hard people are working than ever. And this year, we're going to really talk about a lot of ways we can hopefully make it so you can work more efficiently and not so hard and still earn the rewards that you deserve. I'm so proud of so many of you out there for building your businesses. I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm really proud of what you've achieved. You've done a lot, and it's really great. Okay, now the last thing I wanted to mention, hold on, let's back up here. One more thing. I want to say something again. This is primarily an issue I see in personal lines. Now, I understand if you have not sold commercial insurance, or if you've only dabbled in commercial insurance, or you've only sold one type of commercial insurance, or if you just feel like you're not sure what to do and how to expand, well, this is where in 2023, I would love to have you come to my webinar. I'm going to have live webinars, and it's going to be about just this topic, getting into commercial insurance, strategies for obtaining commercial leads, and there's a series of multiple webinars that I'm going to have. If you want to find out about them, go to planetoftheagents.com, get on the mailing list because I have to announce it via the mailing list. I'll try to announce it here on YouTube, but I want to make sure that those of you who are really interested and want to know what I've been doing all these years, this is going to be my 19th year in insurance, and commercial is really what took me to a new level. And I've worked on the retail side, I've worked on the wholesale side, I have experience on both sides, generating leads, working with insurance agents. Obviously, I want to share this stuff. Something I want to do in my life legacy is to help other insurance agents because this is a very valuable profession. And yeah, it is very valuable. Society needs people. Society needs you, okay? We need insurance agents and brokers, producers, whatever term you want to use. We need you. Okay, let's move on to topic number 3, my prediction for the future. One of my predictions, especially in personal lines right now, is that we are going to see more of a pay per sale structure. What does that mean? It means that you will not get a commission percentage based on the amount of premium that you write. Rather, you will receive a payment for each sale. Let me give you an example in personal lines of one that I already know exists with a certain agency and possibly others where they were able to, this is what they were given. Or I don't know if they negotiated it, I don't know if it's what they wanted, but it's something I've been thinking was coming and I know it already exists. I don't know the exact dollar amount, but I'm going to use an example here. When this company would sell an auto insurance policy, if they sold a policy that was liability only, no comprehensive, no collision, no physical damage, etc., then they would receive a flat rate of $150. They would not receive a renewal commission. Does it matter if the premium is $200 or $1,000 or $5,000? No, they were receiving a flat rate. If they would make a sale with physical damage, so like liability, uninsured motorist, underinsured motorist, comprehensive, collision, adding the physical damage coverages, they would receive a higher amount. Perhaps it was $250. And again, there was not a renewal commission that I'm aware of. Now, that's not to say that in the future you might not still receive residuals. You could, but it might not be based on the premium. So this has different effects. This could disincentivize people from making sales or providing any service at all. In return for this, I think that if this is the model that's being used, well, then you shouldn't be servicing the policy. I think that it's going to go to service centers. I think that most agencies that I see outside of rural neighborhoods where people are willing to wait, or where you're the local community agent, perhaps you are, you're in Pocatello, Idaho, right? Or you're in Winnehatchee, or you're in a suburb of Scranton, Pennsylvania. Well, perhaps you're the local agent and people depend on you and they're going to go to you. They have a relationship with you. Relationship business is priceless. That is what this industry was built on. But I see more in the future. We're going to probably have more service centers. A lot of the big carriers I know are offering service centers. Sometimes the carrier actually makes sales for the agents and just gives them credit for it. There are a lot of things out there. So this is something I've been predicting, and now I see it's here already. Again, I think it's going to be more prevalent in personal lines for now, as agents are somewhat drifting away from personal lines. And in the world of internet business with affiliate models and things of that nature, they may receive something like that too already. So these are things to consider when you're planning for your future. Okay, everybody. As always, I really appreciate you watching this episode, listening to the show, wherever you are. I would absolutely love it if you were subscribed to the show. If you tap that little subscribe button, click that little bell, so you'll be notified on YouTube every time I put in a new video. And if you're on the podcast, you can see my YouTube link in the description box of the episode. And lastly, make sure you're on the Planet of the Agents newsletter, because I am very excited to announce the webinars. They are essentially done, but I want to make sure that when we're live, we're going to have an opportunity to take your questions. It's not going to just be me talking. I want to make sure to answer your questions. And then you'll also have an opportunity to join me as part of my group as a long-term thing that we can participate in, so we can help each other. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Planet of the Agents, the ultimate show for insurance agents and agency owners. I cannot wait to see you in the next episode, and drop a comment below. Take care.